Okay, this question, we've been given the exact same information, but it's been presented differently. So, for example, in this first one, we know cos theta equals a third and theta is acute. So, by telling us that, they're telling us that we're here, because acute angles are between 0 and 90. Okay? We're going to draw our triangle under it, always under it. And we know cos theta is 1 on 3. So the adjacent is 1, hypotenuse is 3. We don't know why. And we're going to find tan theta. So we're going to start off by figuring out the unknown side. So the first step is always figure out unknown side. I'm not going to write the steps. First step is always to figure out the unknown side. So 3 squared equals 1 squared plus y squared. So y squared equals 3 squared, take 1 squared. So y is root 8, which is 2 root 2. Because root 8, remember, is 4 times 2, and you square root the 4. Okay, so now we know why, we can figure out tan theta. Because tan is opposite over adjacent. We know the opposite is y, so it's 2 root 2. The adjacent is 1, so it's just 2 root 2. Because we're in this first quadrant, we know it's going to be positive. We don't need to stress about that. The next question, not so nice. Okay, this time, we're going to start off by figuring out where we are. They've told us theta is reflex. Now, don't forget, acute is like that. Obtuse is like that. But reflex is like that or like that. And you're looking at this angle. Yeah? So, we know that we're either here or we're here. But we actually know a little bit more than that, okay? Because they've told us that it's negative. SATC. So the fact that it was reflex told us that we were in this one or this one. But the fact that it's negative tells us we're not in the third one, we must be in the fourth one, yeah? So theta is between 270 and 360. So what that tells us is when we go to draw our triangle, we know tan theta equals minus 2/3. So this means that this is y, this is x, and this is the radius. The y equals the opposite, must be the negative 2, and the x, which is the adjacent, where you can see x is positive, so that's positive 3. So r squared, which is the last thing we need to find, is negative 2 squared plus 3 squared. So r equals 2 squared plus 3 squared. Root 13. So now we can get down to business. Cos theta. Well, cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. So that adjacent is the positive 2. The hypotenuse is the root 13. And we know it's going to be positive because we're in the fourth quadrant. Although we didn't really need to stress about that because we kind of already figured that out because we already knew the opposite So y was -2 and the adjacent is +3 and the r is always positive anyway. Okay, one more. Let's do E. Okay, so let's draw our thing. SATC. They've told us that we're between 0 and 180. So we're somewhere here. They've also told us that cos is negative. Now, if cos is negative, we can't be here because everything's positive there, which means we must be here, which means our line's going here, and the triangle we're going to form, the adjacent is -40, the radius is 41. The radius couldn't have been the negative, and they can't both be negative, so the adjacent had to be the negative, and we'll figure out why. So we know 41 squared equals -40 squared plus y squared. So y squared equals 41 squared, take -40 squared. So y equals 41 squared, take √81. So y equals 9. That worked out nicely. And it's positive. You can see from the triangle we've drawn, it's positive. So that means we can go straight into sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. So we've got 9/41, and we know it's positive because sine is positive there. Also because we had a positive y and a positive radius.